Alright, so I'm back with whip 3. So we're going to continue on adding more layers. And let me just turn back on my show here. We'll get started.
It's beyond standard model. And that would be exciting, because each time that happens, we learn something new. The LHC may be hinting that the Higgs is only one of many players. It may not be the God particle after all. This man thinks the truth about the creation of the universe lies deeper than the long-sought Higgs. That we owe our existence to particles we have only just begun to imagine. It was the Greek philosopher Democritus who first thought of the atom. He imagined it to be the smallest possible building block of matter, one that could never be divided. His idea was good enough to last 2,000 years, until the nuclear age came along and revealed the deeper truth. The atom is made up of smaller things. Just as particles like quarks and electrons make up the atom, smaller, more fundamental building blocks might make up the Higgs boson. If we can find them, they could reveal not just how matter exists, but why it came to be. Francesco Cenino is a theoretical physicist at the University of Southern Denmark in Odense. He lives in the perfect town to let his imagination run wild. Odense is the birthplace of the famous children's story author Hans Christian Andersen.
So we are in the Hans Christian Andersen neighborhood. He was born here, and he has drawn a lot from these streets. As you can see, it looks like a taken by a page from a storybook.
But unlike this fairy tale town, our understanding of the fundamental building blocks of the universe is not picture perfect. The standard model regards the Higgs boson as a fundamental particle. But Francesco's imagination is driving him to look further, to see if he can peer inside the Higgs.
According to the standard model, the Higgs is a fundamental particle. It means it's not made of something else. So look at this wall, it's white. But the truth is that there are three different lights combined together making this white. In fact, see what happens if I put my hand in front of the wall. I can resolve these three different colors, the green, the blue, and the red. Together they form the white light.
Just as the white light is actually made up of three different colors, Francesco wondered if the Higgs is made up of several different particles. This would mean the Higgs is not a fundamental root of all matter. He and many of his colleagues think the Higgs itself is governed by a new force of nature, something they call the technicolor force.
If you look deep inside the Higgs, you will find it's made of something else.
Francesco believes the Higgs boson dances to a new tempo. Imagine these Lego bricks are ordinary quarks, and this board is the force of the gluons that holds them together. To make a proton, we need three quarks. According to the Technicolor theory, the Higgs is just the same, but it is made up of different types of quarks. Techniquarks.
The techniquarks are held together by a new force, a techniforce. And the energy that comes from the interactions also automatically provides the mass of the Higgs.
Physicists know ordinary quarks in different arrangements make different particles. One arrangement is a proton, another arrangement is a neutron. Techniquarks work the same way. Arrange them one way, and you get a Higgs. But arrange those techniquarks another way, and you get something else scientists have been looking for: a dark matter particle.
So it's really like a Lego brick. You put them together, and in one form that you get the Higgs, and in another form you can get the dark matter.
Perhaps the reason the standard model Higgs can't explain dark matter is because the Higgs is dark matter in disguise, and both particles are held together by the technoforce.
There will be definitely a new force in nature. So it will be a fantastic opportunity for mankind to face a new force.
Technoquarks could be glued together in many ways, constructing several brand new particles. Those particles could be waiting to be discovered at the LHC when it comes back online at much higher energies in 2015. Francesca hopes that the Higgs boson recently discovered is the first candidate. We just won't know it until we have enough power to crack it open.
I think it's a duty of our human beings to understand what is around us and what makes us. I think this is really a fantastic opportunity to push the boundary of science to that degree.
Does the so-called God particle have multiple faces? Perhaps the Higgs is not as almighty as we thought, but there are much more mind-bending ideas. What makes us exist could be objects that don't really exist at all. When we look up at the night sky, our moon peers down at us. It seems to be magically suspended in thin air, even though we know it's being held in place by the force of gravity. What if all matter in the universe is actually being anchored by something else? Something far stranger than gravity, and far stranger than the God particle. Howard Georgi from Harvard University has been a particle physicist for most of his life. But recently, he has made a career change. He is now an unparticle physicist.
I was trying to think about what the LHC might see that was really unusual. And it occurred to me that whether there was something that might show up at the LHC that was not particles at all. That was the beginning of my career as an unparticle physicist.
Like many physicists, Howard has been trying to fix the standard model and come up with new theories. While working on his equations, he noticed some puzzling calculations. In physics, massless particles like photons show up in the math as negative whole numbers. Howard's equations were giving him negative numbers, but they weren't whole numbers. They were negative fractions.
You do this analysis and you might get 2.5 massless particles. And then you scratch your head and say, what is going on?
Howard knew these half numbers weren't half particles, they were something new. He called them unparticles.
There's something happening, there's some physics, but it's not the sort of physics that we're used to.
Howard probed the math deeper and learned more about unparticles. He realized the reason they came out as fractions is because they have fractal dimensions, much like the branches of a tree.
If you look at the tree, it's not one-dimensional because the tree comes and it branches, and then the branches branch again, and the branches branch again, and the branches, etc., and so on. In a true fractal, that would go on forever.
Unparticles are like the branches of this tree. The pattern is the same no matter how close or how far away you look. But normal particles are like the leaves on the tree. The closer you get, the bigger they look.
I like the idea of thinking of the leaves as the objects of the standard model because they have a definite size like a mass that a particle has. Whereas the branches of the tree don't have a definite size.
All of the particles that make up our universe have mass, which physicists believe exists because of the Higgs. But perhaps those particles and the Higgs are really being governed by an invisible world of unparticles that defy the laws of known physics. It would mean all matter particles in the universe are like the leaves on this tree. An invisible tree of unparticles may be their anchor, the secret underpinning of the entire cosmos.
That's really the point of unparticle physics. In order for this invisible tree to be interesting, it has to somehow interact with the particles of the standard model. The leaves will have to somehow be held up by that tree or vice versa.
So far, there are no signs of unparticles at the LHC. But Howard isn't giving up as an unparticle physicist.
I don't think we've got the right picture, frankly. When you have something that strange and that different from what we know, it's tantalizing. And so I think it's worth continuing to try to beat on this complicated mathematics and see if we can make some more progress.
Is the Higgs boson really the God particle? Or is there something else underneath? Something more mysterious? Do we owe our existence to something we might never detect? For now, scientists continue to probe the God particle they have triumphantly discovered, hoping they will one day find out. The Higgs boson has been playing a game of hide and seek for decades. Now that we have finally found it, or something like it, we have more questions than answers. Each time physicists find the key to one door, they open it just to find another door, and then 5 more. Maybe the Higgs boson really is God's particle, a cosmic puzzle whose solution is just another puzzle, destined to remain an enigma. Scientists have been hunting it for 40 years, the key that will unlock the secrets of the universe. And now, they...
Interesting. What are you doing, baby? Don't do that, baby. No. You're gonna break it. I don't know why you're being so bratty this morning, huh? What's your deal? Hmm? What's your deal, Isaac? I think you woke up too early. Right, so we're at our 30-minute mark. So I'm going to stop the video here and we'll continue on with whip 3 when I come back.